But we are going to have a book talk today because I finally finished A Court of Thorns and Roses. And Jordyn,
Also, if I just want to give the spoiler alert now.
oh
If
yes,
you are not done A Court of Thorns and Roses, if you are interested in reading A Court of Thorns and Roses, we love you. Log off now because I don't want to spoil this for anyone. This is for people who have read it and want to relinquish in our reviews of A Court of
yes,
Thorns and Roses.
exactly. And I am ready to just break down this whole book because I finished it on the plane on the
Mhm.
way home. It took me about 6 weeks to get through this book
Mhm.
because I was struggling a lot at the
Okay.
beginning, and I was told by you, I was
Yep.
told by Kat, I was told by several people that the book would be slow. And I was like, "Okay, whatever, I can make it through." The book started, I was like, "Okay," then some interesting things happened, and then we were in, you know, this whole fairy world and I was like, "Okay, I'm getting the vibe." And then it just fell off for me, and I was like, ugh, it was just kept going on, and she was in the room, and she was painting and trying to learn how to read, and I was like, "Oh my god, like, I don't care." I had also just come off of a very steamy book, so I was
Yes.
waiting for the steam, and I wasn't getting it, and I was like, "Okay," and I kept battling through it, and I kept battling through it. Page friggin' 250
Yep.
was when I got into it.
Yep.
So, if you guys are still listening and haven't read this book yet, that just so you know, that's where we're at.
Yes. And also, and this is in no way a spoiler for you, but just like the series
Yeah.
as a whole. I'm on the last book. I have, I think, 120 pages left of the last book, and then I'm done. I'm going to try and finish it tonight, honestly, because it's that good.
Okay.
And I want to say that this series, it does start slow, but this is the first series I've ever read that I feel like, you know how a lot of them, they like, there's one book and it ends, and then you're like trying to force more events to happen. This is one of the first series where like the books actually like move this way.
Oh, cool.
Like throughout the whole thing. So just know that 100% the first book was the slowest, but you are in for like a journey.
That is what everyone's told me. And
Yes.
I'm very, very excited about it now because I am about maybe 50 pages into the book of
That was
Writing.
my favorite one.
This one is a lot. You've told me that. Kat's told me it's her favorite one. I'm ready to read this one. Again, I just started it, so I'm only a couple pages in, but I'm already more interested in this book 50 pages in than I
Yes.
was with A Court of Thorns and Roses. So the ending was where I was like, finally, shit is going down, and I'm so happy about it. And I loved like that there was finally like an evil person,
Mhm.
Amarantha. Like she was there and she was the fucking evil queen, whatever. And I was like, I wish they had just mentioned her a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
And like I could build up to meeting her because they literally she comes back, right, from being with her family. Like he sends her off.
Yep.
Tamlin, who I call Tampon because I don't like him. Which apparently people keep finding very interesting that I don't like him. I have no feelings for Tamlin. And I
I
even
need you to
texted
finish A Court of Mist and Fury so bad.
when I told Jordyn that, she was just like, "Oh, it's so interesting that you're feeling this way." And then I texted Kat the same thing, and she was like, "Oh, it's so interesting that you're feeling this way." And I was like, "Okay." Because I don't feel what she's feeling. Also, I've been calling her Fair. Is how do you pronounce her
I
name?
call it Feyre.
Feyre.
Feyre. I don't know if
Okay.
that's right.
Okay. Because in my brain it's fair. And I don't know if that's right or not. I should
I
probably
don't
look up the
know. And
pronunciation.
for a while, I was just calling her Fire. Like in the first book, I was like, I don't know what the fuck these names are. So I was calling her Fire. And then someone, I think eventually someone in one of the books like enunciates it and it looked like they had like a hyphen and it looked like Feyre. So I was like, ooh, so like I say Feyre.
How to pronounce. Let's see. How do you pronounce?
How do you
Uh,
pronounce Reese? Are you Reesend?
no, Rysand.
Rysend?
Yeah.
I think no, I think
But
I am too.
But I say Rysand, and then when I see his name shortened, I say Reese.
I'm the same way.
So I don't know. But so anyway, when we get to Amarantha and like Under the Mountain and that whole thing, I was like, "Oh yes, this is what I've been waiting for." And I am in love with Rysand. Like I adore that man. I think he's a piece of shit and I love it. Like
Mhm.
the second he showed up during the Fire Night, I think it's called, when he was like first introduced.
Yes, the ritual night.
And we like don't really know who he is, but he like saves her. I was like, "Ooh, a dark, mysterious figure. I like him." And then he
And the way
disappears
she
for a while.
describes him, like he was the most beautiful man I'd ever seen. I can picture it. Who do you picture as an actor? Who do you picture as Reese?
Hmm.
Because the person that I have in my head, everyone tells me is wrong.
Who are you picturing?
I picture Finnick Odair from the Hunger Games, but with
Oh,
black hair.
I don't picture that
That's
at
who I
all.
just like the way Reese talks. That's who I picture.
I just need to look
But
up like
everyone tells me that's wrong. And now, ever since everyone told me no, he's supposed to be like a lot more dark and brooding, I've been picturing Damon Salvatore.
okay, I think that would probably be closer.
Mm.
I picture, yes, like a very like dark-haired. I don't think I picture an actor per se, but like
Yeah.
very fair, almost like vampire-y, but with
Mhm.
like a gorgeous head of just like dark hair and like just a very slender, very tall.
Mhm.
I feel like I'd have to look through like a list
Yeah.
of um actors to like get a vibe. But in my brain, I see Tamlin as this very big, muscular, like not that he isn't an attractive character because he
Mhm.
doesn't do anything wrong per se, but he's got like, you know, like the high fae vibe and like
Mhm.
he wants her to be a certain way and like and I'm like, I don't like, and then he's like, I have to protect you. And I'm like, she's fine. She's fine. Like she can handle her. I don't like their relationship. And
Mhm.
so far in the beginning of this book, I don't like their relationship either. So, and again, when Rysand shows up and he's just like, being all brooding and mysterious, and then he
Mhm.
tells her like, you have to stay with me a week every month. I'm like, oh, okay, like,
I
sure.
I am a very, as you could assume because you know my taste in men, also team Reese.
Yes, I would understand that.
Yeah.
And I'm on the same vibe. I love Lucian. I think that he is a great,
See,
like,
I
second.
say Lucin. Is that wrong? Luchin?
I say Lucin.
That's what's
Did I
so
say
hard
Lucian?
about all these names.
It looks like Lucius in Harry Potter, which is why I think I say
That's
Lucian.
fair. That's fair.
But I could be wrong. But I can picture him very vividly in my
Yeah.
brain.
I
Like,
also I should send these to you. When I first started reading, I connected with like this girl that I used to work with like years ago. She was like, "This
oh,
is my favorite book series. Like, I want you to keep me updated the whole time." And it just got us like totally reconnected. Like now we
oh,
Instagram DM all the time,
so
and it's
fun.
been so fun. But she was like, "Do not Google anything. Like, do not search what anyone looks like." And I was like, I wouldn't. But she sent me pictures of like drawings of what people have like expected them to look like. Here, I should show a couple.
Yeah, sure, because I'm so interested because I can picture Lucian pretty vividly in my brain. I think he's one of the most vivid characters. I can barely see Fair in my brain. Like I like just she's just very average in my
Yeah.
brain, which I think is how she's supposed to be. Like she isn't this stunning beauty. Like she's a pretty woman, but I don't visualize her as like a stunning human being.
I agree.
Slash high fae now.
Wait. Oh, Taylor Nation posted 4 hours ago and just sent me into a downward spiral, but you have already liked it.
I've already liked it. What was
Yeah,
it?
it was like the lucky number 13. Like
Oh, I
soon
was
we'll be able to add.
I was trying to figure that out, and I was like, I don't have the mental capacity to do this right now.
No, literally. My Wi-Fi has been so weird all day. Did I cut out on the show at all?
No, not at all. Not on
All
my
right.
end.
Also, I have a video of me that I need to text you reacting to the last like 50 pages of Mist and Fury. And I'm reading it at Brian's house. Yes, I'm reading it at Brian's house. And his brother comes in and he's like, no spoilers, just like me, like, and his brother comes in and he's like, Jordyn, do you want a shot of Fireball? And I'm like, and he's like, oh my God, she's reading. And you hear him and Brian both like drop to the floor because like, she's got a crazy part. Like,
Should I do that? Should I record myself reading the last like 50 pages?
yes, of every book. Because honestly, like the series picks up with every book, but Sarah J. Maas, like the way she does it, it's literally the same way as A Court of Thorns and Roses. It's all like tease, 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 and then everything happens in the last couple hundred pages.
Okay.
So, and every book is like that.
I did say like right before, so the trials happen. She fights the worm. She can't read. I think honestly, I think that's really funny. I don't think it should be, but I think it's hilarious that they were just like, this is supposed to be some like very insane like riddle she's supposed to be solving, and she was like, I can't read.
Yeah.
You dumb bitch.
Yeah.
Oh, can't believe this. We don't even get to know what the freaking riddle was because you can't read. But then the last one, obviously, as we were sitting there, I was like, that's when I think I texted, or no, it was probably a little bit before that, but that's when I texted you, and I was like, something in the text message said something along the lines of like, if Tamlin dies, I don't care. And I was like, I wonder if he's gonna. Like, I wonder if they're gonna kill him. And then I was like, can he die? And then that's when the third trial comes around and she kills the two Fae, and then the last one is Tamlin. And I was like, oh, do it fair. Kill him. And then she does it, and I'm like, this motherfucker can't die. That's so lame.
I know.
And I was like, I really thought he was gonna die there. Yes. I would say that that's fair. I always picture her with a long braid.
Yeah.
Do they say that at some point?
I feel like, yeah, because I thought the same thing. Like when I saw her, I was like, that makes perfect sense. This is supposed to be Tamlin. Yeah. With the mask.
The hair, exactly how I pictured him. Yeah. With the sharp jawline, for sure.
And then I have Lucien with his eye.
Yeah, that's pretty close for me as well. I picture him with a little bit more curly and like wildy hair.
Yeah.
But yes, definitely like the fire red hair, the sharp features.
Those are the only three I have.
Okay. Well, I feel like I don't even want to see a picture of Rysand because the picture I have of him in my brain is just fine.
Yeah.
If I could put it onto the screen, I would. But
you know, I've been thoroughly, I know it might be wrong, but like when I'm reading a book like that, like I want to picture, like I like picturing my own people because then I get more attached. So I'm perfectly fine picturing Rhys as Finnick Odair.
As you should, you know, it's your reading imagination, you know.
World. I saw a TikTok the other day that was so real, and it was like what my boyfriend sees when I'm reading, and it was like this woman like in like a oversized snuggie with like a blanket under her head and like the book, and it was like what I'm seeing, and it was all the fantasy worlds and all the shit, and I was like, yes,
yeah, no, she does a great job building up the world. Like, I do feel like going into the second book, I feel very prepared for her to just jump into the story.
Yep.
Like, even if I had to like wait for this book to come out and then I read it like months or years later, like I feel like I could just jump right into it and I don't have to worry about remembering what happens in the previous book to know what's going on in this book.
Yes.
She does a very good job with that. She's a good writer.
I cannot wait until you are done the series altogether and I can actually tell you all of my thoughts and feelings, because I don't want to I don't even want to tell you my thoughts on anything. So I went in with zero spoilers, zero direction, other than what people told me about like the pace of the books. Like, do not give up. The ends always get really exciting. Like, that's literally all I knew. And that was very true.
Mm-hmm.
But the way the storyline, could not have predicted anything. It's just phenomenal.
Do you remember how you felt after finishing the first book?
Yes.
How did you feel after finishing the first book?
I was where you are at but I still because early on, like when her and Tamlin were initially falling in love, I ate it up. I loved him. And then Reese got introduced, and I was like, I feel like I shouldn't love him, but of course I'm going to be drawn to the villain.
Right.
You know who I am.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always like, Reese. But then at the end with like the unveiling of Tamlin and like just her emotion for Tamlin, I was like, and then like the book ended and I was just like, I don't know what I'm supposed to feel.
Yeah, I even when they were like falling in love and like I felt happy for her. I was like, good for you. Like, I'm glad that the man who kidnapped you from your family you're in love with him. That's so cool of you. But I did think that they focused really hard on this idea of like Beauty and the Beast, and like that's the vibes I was getting at least. And I'm like, I think I felt a little forced to like him, and I think that's what made me push back, that I was like, but I don't like him. And so the fact that they kept telling me to like him, I was like, no, I don't want to like him. I don't think that he's a good fit for her. So that's what, and then when Reese came in towards the end of the book, I was just like eating it up. I was like, yes, kill him, be with Ryzen, like, please. And then I'm still very hung up on the fact, though, like there weren't a lot of cliffhangers towards the end of the book, but the idea that when they like had their last meeting, like right before she leaves the mountain or whatever, he like looks at her crazy and then like flies away, and I'm like, what did that mean? I was like, what? And I'm like kind of like still thinking about it, and I'm like waiting. That's why I really just want to like sit down and read and like just really get through this book. And I am going to Barnes & Noble on Saturday with Kat to buy the third book so that I have it in my possession, because she told me I'm gonna fly through this book.
You're gonna fly through it, and then you should honestly just buy the last 3, like there.
I'm so poor.
I know. The Frost and Starlight one. Has she told you anything about that one?
That's like the one about Nesta.
3.5.
Is it the one about Nesta?
It's where you learn the most about Nesta, but it's just this like not the most. It's like introducing, really getting you to know Nesta. Okay. And it's like 200 pages, but it's very just like you could literally sit down and read that in one setting. Like I read it once I actually sat down, I read it in like 2 nights. Oh, okay. Because I think it's like 230 pages, and it's just like sweet. It's very like Christmassy and nice. Oh. So that one is just like adorable.
Okay.
And I mean, there's drama, but it's.
I mean, compare the thickness of
not
that
like a book like the other ones.
Is like, this is thick.
Oh my god! Even when I was holding it, I was like, I feel like this is like a child's book, because like.
I feel ya. Like you pick up like a regular sized book and you're like, oh, this is so tiny, and then you pick up this book and you're like.
That's what I told you about. What Brian told me about pages instead of books, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why, like, when I'm reading this series, he's like, see, he was like, this should count as 2 books because it's fucking almost 800 pages. The last one, I think that one was like 600 something.
This one is, I don't want to read too far.
Yeah.
This one, 626.
Okay. Don't look at anything.
The only thing I saw was that the last couple pages are changed narrators.
That doesn't do anything.
But I just saw that it was like half was Ryzen, half was Fair, and that makes me really excited that we're gonna get Ryzen's freaking point of view. Oh, I can't wait for him to fall in love with her.
I am saying absolutely nothing.
Well, obviously, we know he's already in love with her because he was like all up in her business. But yes. Overall, very good towards the end. I was very happy that I battled through it and got to the end of the book, because I couldn't put it down once I got to the mountain.
And now you are going to cruise, and we will keep you updated throughout all of Sam's journeys.